Hi there, I'm Dr. Eileen Kennedy Moore, also known as Dr. Friendtastic. I'm an author and clinical psychologist based in Princeton, New Jersey. Here's today's question.
Hi, I'm Alex and I'm 10 years old. Hello, Dr. Friendtastic. I want to ask you a question. Sometimes when I lose games, I get upset. How can I cope with this better? Thank you so much.
Hi, Alex. I'm so glad you sent in this question. A lot of kids have a hard time dealing with losing a game. Coping with losing has a lot to do with how you think about it. I have some ideas that might help. First, ask yourself, how long does winning or losing last? The answer is usually about 2 seconds. For instance, let's say you're playing a game of tennis. After your match, you might walk over to your parents. If you won, they'd say, "Congratulations," or "Good game." And if you lost, they'd say, "Nice try." And then you'd go have lunch, or pick up your sister at ballet, or do whatever the next thing is. So if you lose, you really only have to be brave for a few seconds, and then it's over. You can move on. Second, think about why you're playing the game. Often we play games because we want to have fun with a friend. Whether the game takes 5 minutes or an hour, most of the time you and your friend are playing together. That's the point. You may or may not win the game, but you can always win the fun just by having a good time together. Some games are just a matter of luck, so who wins or loses is a surprise, and that's part of the fun. Most race around the board games involve luck. Usually there's a lot of back and forth. 1 minute you're ahead. Then you get sent back to the start and your friend is ahead. But then something lucky happens and you get ahead. Imagine if you already knew who was going to win before you started the game. That would make the game very boring. What's the point of playing if you already know how it ends? So, if it's a luck game, let yourself enjoy the uncertainty. Laugh about the setbacks and remind yourself that who wins or loses says absolutely nothing about you. It's just luck. So you can focus on having fun with your friend. In other games, the outcome reflects skill. These are usually the more interesting games. The challenge of trying hard and using or trying to improve our skills is what makes these games enjoyable. For instance, tennis or chess are games of skill. You have to know strategy and respond effectively to what your opponent does. It takes practice and effort to learn the necessary skills. The player who is most skilled and makes the fewest mistakes will win. Now, you could tell yourself things like, "I will only be happy if I beat everyone I play at chess." If that's your goal, well, maybe you should only play with little kids who barely know how to move the chess pieces. You'd win every time. But would that be satisfying? No, it wouldn't. Why not? Because there's no challenge in beating little kids who know much less than you do. In fact, that would get very boring very fast. I beat a 4-year-old. I beat another 4-year-old. So what? That wasn't challenging or interesting. If you're a chess player or a player of any other skill-based game, you'll have the most fun when the outcome is uncertain because you and the other player have about the same skill level. Trying your hardest and being uncertain how things will turn out, that's exciting. The great thing about skill-based games is that there's always more to learn. If you win, that's satisfying, but you're not going to stop there and say, "I won that game, so now I'm done learning." If you're interested in the game, you'll want to keep learning and test your skills again. If you lose, that can tell you something about what skills you need to practice or what mistakes you should try to avoid. Great, that's important feedback. Whether you win or lose, the outcome of a particular game is not that important because it's just a dot in time. If you keep going, studying and practicing and getting feedback from coaches or judges or by playing more games, your skills are going to improve over time. Of course you like to win. Everybody does. And it's disappointing to lose. But I believe you're strong enough to handle that brief pinch of disappointment when you lose, because you can see beyond that moment. It really is just a moment. If you're playing a skill-based game, whether it's with a friend or a kid you don't know, I recommend showing up with the attitude, I'm here to learn and have fun, and then I'm going to eat lunch or do whatever the next thing is. This has been Kids Ask Dr. Friendtastic. If you have a question about making and keeping friends that you'd like me to answer, go to drfriendtastic.com. That's drfriendtastic.com, and click on the podcast tab to see how to submit your question. You can learn even more about friendship through my funny and practical books for kids, Growing Friendships, A Kid's Guide to Making and Keeping Friends, and Growing Feelings, A Kid's Guide to Dealing with Emotions about Friends and Other Kids. They're available through your library or wherever you buy books.